My name is Andy Stevens, Commercial Bank. Will you be able to conduct studies prior to the commencement of any particular project?
The earlier you get involved in this, the better. And I think there's not enough understanding across the region of project delivery that actually, even as far back as looking at the funding of these types of assets and the internal rate of return that's required to make them financially viable, decisions that are taken at that point have a major impact on some of the pressures that projects feel during the end of the construction phase. So it's absolutely the case that we will be looking at projects from a very early stage, certainly earlier than construction starting and design, but absolutely up the planning pipeline right up to conception and funding, and that's a very important element for the Institute.
Will most of your studies be conducted on projects within this region, or will you continue to maintain a global perspective?
We did a lot of research again to have a look at where we should centre the Institute, and obviously for us as a UK company that's sponsoring this Institute initially, we're based in London but we work globally, so we work in Europe and in the Middle East and in Africa at the moment. Infrastructure expenditure, as Anthony has said earlier, is running somewhere between 50 and 70 trillion US dollars between now and 2030. That is a global expansion. It clearly has hotspots. The Middle East is a very large hotspot at the moment, and within that, Doha is, quite frankly, a shining light in the next 5 to 7 years. So a lot of our work, we think, will be concentrated in the Middle East. We also expect to be working in Africa as well in the next 10 years, because we think that a lot of the lessons that are learned in the Middle East will then be projected downwards into Africa as Africa starts to develop as well.